hometown you can count on. That's us. Brown Funeral Home in Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson. We're here when you need us.
We have the tools, we have the talent. It's Miller time.
It's Miller time on Talk Radio WRNR. A look at local sports with the play-by-play voice of local sports, Matt Miller.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome in to Miller Time for this Monday, June 18th. Matt Miller with you back in studio after a week of vacation, joined by Matt Crawford, who, as Rob Mario and I put it this morning, admirably handled duties last week. Way to go.
I appreciate it.
Good job.
Thank you. How was your week off that wasn't a week off at all?
I got plenty of things done around the house.
You're the only person I know that took a week off to do housework in the middle of summer.
But it wasn't ordinary housework. It was stuff that had to get done, and it got done.
That's what weekends are for.
Yeah, but that was the point. Yeah, I told my wife that on, I think it was Tuesday. I said, I've realized that this vacation is, 9 days in length? So I get 7 Saturdays and 2 Sundays. Because it started at the end of last Friday, waking up on Saturday morning and doing a regular Saturday routine of things that needed to be done around the house. After church and family and relaxing on Sunday, Monday became the second Saturday. So I just took another set of tasks and worked through those. And then Tuesday became another. So it was just a Saturday after Saturday until we got to yesterday, where I got another good day to relax. Church, family, good time, and now back to work today.
Well, at least it was productive.
It was. Now, there were times I wished I'd have been doing other things, believe me. But at the same time, by the end of the week,
90% humidity, and you're laying 42 pavers out to make a patio?
16 by 16 patio pavers.
Which are nice and light, right?
And it wasn't bad. It was a good workout. I'm feeling good coming back.
Good. 15 pounds down? Is that what you said?
15 pounds down since May the 1st. Nice. So shooting for a few more.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
The station didn't blow up while you were gone. So.
No, everything is good.
Yeah.
We do have 2 big pieces of information we've got to get out before we welcome in 2 guests who are in studio with us for the first half hour of today's program. The first big piece of news coming out of Washington and the Capitals.
Barry Trotz has resigned as the head coach of the Washington Capitals. I think that there have been more and more rumors leaking out. Apparently, there was a contract dispute. I believe last Wednesday, he met with the ownership group and the general manager, and they started to do contract negotiations, which he was not under contract after the Stanley Cup ended. So he needed a new contract to coach next year, and apparently they were not on the same page when it came to, I'm guessing, salary and or length of time. But originally I figured it would be some sort of, it would come out that he wanted more of a family time. I mean, he's been a head coach, or he's been a coach in the NHL and other professional leagues for the last 19 years. Before that, he was a player. And I know his son had either Down syndrome or a severe form of autism. It's one of the two. So I figured that would be he won a Stanley Cup. He wanted to end on top, but apparently that is not the case. Apparently it was something to do with the contract negotiations.
So we'll have more on that as that story continues to develop here overnight and into the day tomorrow. The second major piece of information also coming out of D.C. late this afternoon, I read online where when you see Bryce Harper tonight against the New York Yankees, he will be beardless.
Does he think that's going to help his 217 bat? Really? I mean, I get baseball. I played baseball for 12 years. I know it's a superstitious game, but do you really think the beard is going to help him get out of the horrific slump he's been in?
Maybe that's it. I don't know. The article that I read didn't give any kind of an explanation, and it had nothing to do specifically from him. It was others who were putting that out there in tweets and so forth, that apparently at some point in time today, Bryce Harper said goodbye to the beard, and I'm sure there's got to at least be a hope somewhere in there that it means hello to a long ball tonight against the Yankees.
It can't hurt anything, to be honest. I mean, he 0 for 5 yesterday, 2 strikeouts, and again, 217 for a guy that's supposed to make $400 million over the next 10 years.
More on that coming up as well. Hey, when the heat index is 105 outside, I don't know why you'd want a beard of that thickness and so forth on your face playing baseball day in and day out anyway.
It's got a nice beard.
He does, but still. A nice beard is not everything when you're playing 162 games in the heat of summer.
Now, hitting's more important than the beard, which he's not doing very well at the moment.
Well, speaking of baseball and hitting, we have in studio from Hedgesville High School, head coach Aaron Whitford. Got to always start at the top, Chase, and then we'll work our way down. Coach Whitford, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
And then Chase DeLauder, who is the West Virginia State Baseball Player of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in and spending some time with us as well. Do either of you guys have superstitions? I mean, have you ever grown a beard, shaved a beard, worn the same socks or whatever over and over and over again?
I mean, I always warm up with 2 bats before I hit. That's something I've always done.
So no donut, just 2 bats?
Just 2 bats. It's usually Kyle's bat, Kyle West.
All right.
No, when I played, I had a Butterfinger and a red Gatorade before I played every game in high school. That's as far as it went.
A Butterfinger and a red Gatorade.
That's it.
I don't know. That sounds like I'd have an upset stomach about midway through the game, but that it worked.
It did. I mean, it did.
Very successful. Do you still do that now, playing softball?
No.
You should go back to that, right?
I might want to consider it the way I'm hitting.
Give it a try. You never know. Guys, let's start with just the season as a whole. Coach Whitford, we'll start with you. With the nucleus of players coming back from a team that won a sectional championship in 2017, how did you kind of see this 2018 season playing out for your team as a whole, but also for the young man to your right and what you knew he could bring back here? This is junior year.
Yeah. I'll start with the team, and I'll talk about this guy to my right. We knew we had a nucleus coming back, but we also knew in the wintertime that our number 2 pitcher from last year, Hunter Coe, was dealing with an elbow injury. So we knew we were going to have to rely on some sophomores, one being a transfer that came in and the other being a JV kid the year before that didn't have much experience at the varsity level pitching. And we knew we were going to have to rely on them. And, they did well, and that helped us get through the regular season. So I'm not sure if conditioning towards the end there and arm strength and their wear on the sophomores, being those young kids, played a factor in their ability to throw strikes and perform. But we knew we had a chance to be good. If we could find anything behind this guy to my right on the bump, we knew that the sectional title was in reach. Unfortunately, we didn't make enough plays for those guys when they were on the mound. But again, you talked about a group of guys coming back this year. We lose 2 guys out of our lineup, and, there's guys on our bench that still played a significant amount of time this year that can step in and fill those roles next year. This guy here is a special player. We feel every time he's on the mound, we got a chance to win. He's special. The ball moves since his freshman year when he was 5'4" and 25 pounds soaking wet. He was still had the movement on his ball, and we knew, as Coach Webb called him at that time, smooth. Even in the outfield when he was catching fly balls as a freshman, we knew he was smooth. We didn't know that he was going to shoot up to a 6'3", muscular, well-fit, a stud, as we like to call him, make his head a little bigger. And then when he gets in the box, he had 26 extra base hits this year, plus 4 home runs. So 30 extra base hits and 22 singles. So we know when he stepped in the box, something good was likely to happen. I think his on-base percentage was over 600 this year. So he was going to find a way on. So we're glad to have him. We're glad to have him back next year. We're just trying to keep him humble throughout that process, because this is big time for a junior. It's hard for him to handle and process everything that's happening right now. So, we've had a lot of conversations over the last few weeks about that, and I think he's trying to just take it in stride and enjoy it.
All right, so I wanted to ask you this all year, but never got the chance to. Numbers like that, why the leadoff spot? Obviously you want a guy to get on base, and that's the 600 on base percentage, which you mentioned, but power numbers like that, usually you're seeing guys like that in the 3-4 spot. I know 1 through 9, the Hedgesville lineup was very, very impressive this year. Was there ever any thought about moving him into one of the power spots?
No. We want him to get the most at bats. It's high school baseball. So him leading off, he's going to get the most at bats, and that's what we want. Our number 9 hitter, his job was to turn that lineup over and get him back to the plate. And he did a great job doing that all season long. And so, no. It was mentioned, we've had some parent, why is he hitting first? Why is he not third? Blah, blah. Kyle West can hit lead off, and you can put somebody else 2 and him 3. I'm like, I want him to get the most at bats. I want him to get the most appearances. I mean, last year Jefferson's, one of their best hitters was Bowman, and he was in their leadoff spot. I'm pretty certain it's probably for one of the same reasons as you want him to get the most at bats for you. So we actually toyed with it last week in our scrimmage against Jefferson. He hit third, and I didn't like it. So we'll probably never do it again. Like we scrimmage again tomorrow. Chase, you're leading off tomorrow in that scrimmage.
All right, Chase, what was your thoughts in batting third in that scrimmage game last week? How different was that than being in the leadoff?
I kind of felt like I was going to end up batting third only because Hunter wasn't there. Him and Brady are I always thought of as the power guys. I mean, no matter like how much bigger I got or anything, I always thought of them as the power guys and I'd be leading off. So I felt like I'd see more off speed in like 3-hole or 4-hole.
Was it more challenging?
No, I don't really take any different approach up when I'm hitting. I kind of just get up there and try to hit the ball.
Stayed with 2 warm-up bats, so even in the number 3 spot.
I did.
Keeping that superstition alive.
It's not superstition. It's just
as
routine.
long as it works, it's not superstition.
It's routine. That's what it's all about. Let's look into some of those numbers. Coach Whitford, you were bringing those up. The one that jumps out at me, and I'll ask Chase for you to talk about your approach first, and then Coach Whitford, let you jump in afterwards. But I'm looking at 100 at-bats, and you struck out only 2 times. What is that approach when you're standing in the box?
After I get about a strike or two on me, I don't try to kill the baseball. I kind of just try to put the bat on it anywhere it goes, not try to like hit it as hard as I can and pop it up or anything, or just swing and miss. Try to just put it on the ball and see what happens.
All right, so what's the approach before you get to the 2 strikes then? I mean, obviously there's a pitch in there somewhere where you're thinking, I want to hit it and drive it.
Yeah, like 3-1, 2-0. I try to hit it as hard as I can. After I get about a strike, or if the pitch isn't mine, then I start to just calm down and realize I just got to put the bat on it.
Do you try to go the other way?
No, I've had a problem with that the past few years, and this year of going the opposite way. I try to pull everything. Once I change that, I think I'll be a lot better hitter.
All right, you got to be watching the YouTube WRNR TV channel, because as I asked, do you go the other way? Coach Whitford gets this huge grin on his face and starts shaking his head. He's not going the other way enough for you.
No, he's not. And that's, of those 50 at-bats he got out, 20 of them is probably because he popped up pulling off the baseball on an outside pitch. But it's something we work on. It's something he's going to get better at. He's a hard worker, and that's, he's done that already in the offseason since we finished. That's when he's in the cages. So he'll get better at it as we progress here.
Matt, I'll give you one more question before we need to get in our first break.
All right, so we've talked about at the plate, but on the mound, I mean, just totally dominant this year. I think 10-1 record, under 2 ERA. You mentioned that you saw the potential in him from the minute you saw him 25 pounds soaking wet. We can go both of you again. Just what was it about this year that you had it working consistently the entire year?
I feel like just trying to feel like I can beat every team, not really worrying about if they're going to hit me or not. Just kind of go in there and try to throw strikes.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Chase's freshman year, he was very successful because he only had 8 walks in his 30 innings. Last year, his walk numbers were up, so that's something we focused on him. So throw strike 1, let your defense play behind you, and Chase is learning to do that. Right now, he's going through this growth spurt of muscle and getting stronger, and he's trying to overthrow a little bit last week in the scrimmage. So we're talking about, hey, back to being a freshman, back when you were throwing 65 miles an hour, but you hit your location. We got to go back to those smooth mechanics. But he's a stud, man. His mechanics are smooth, and there's not a lot of stuff he doesn't do on the baseball field that just doesn't look smooth.
Well, we are talking with Hedgesville Eagles baseball coach Aaron Whitford, along with center fielder and pitcher and West Virginia State Player of the Year, Chase DeLauder. We'll continue our conversation in just a moment. Right now, we take our first break on today's Miller Time.
Are you looking for a full-service web design company right here in the Eastern Panhandle? Then look no further than Pro Design LLC, specializing in web design and development, web hosting, and application development. Pro Design is a locally owned company serving local clients since 1997 with a reputation of quality, creativity, and personal touch. Let Pro Design build or redesign your dream website. Find them online at professionaldesign.com or phone 304-676-9940.
The Wellness Center at Berkeley Medical Center has introduced a 10-week sports-specific training program called SPEED for 12 to 17-year-old athletes. The goal of SPEED is to evaluate each individual athlete, assess their deficiencies, and design programs to improve the athlete's performance. The new program for young athletes includes strength and conditioning coaching from the Wellness Center pros, as well as the Technogym equipment. If you're interested in building a foundation of long-term athletic success and injury prevention for your athlete, contact the Wellness Center at Berkeley Medical Center.
I'm Steve Weisman with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Giants wideout Odell Beckham Jr. hosted his third annual football camp Saturday. He told the campers he's a kid at heart, so he has the most fun with them. He also told reporters he'll be showing up at training camp. That's right, Beckham is entering the final year of his rookie contract, and he's been open about wanting a new deal. But apparently he won't be holding out. Beckham was with the Giants at minicamp, but didn't participate in team drills. Well, we are just 80 days away from the start of the NFL season when the Falcons take on the Super Bowl champion Eagles in Philly. Atlanta opens up training camp next month, but will Julio Jones be there? Even though the Falcons star wideout skipped the team's mandatory minicamp last week, head coach Dan Quinn is not worried. He told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution the conversations regarding a new contract for the Pro Bowler have begun. Quinn is keeping the specifics private. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Spearfishing has or will strike your business, wreaking havoc on your employees, brand, and your bottom line. Spearfishing can't be stopped by traditional email security solutions because messages appear to be legitimate from your boss, a trusted colleague, or a vendor asking you to wire money, confirm login credentials, or worse. Barracuda Sentinel is artificial intelligence for real-time spearfishing and cyber fraud defense. Reclaim your email in minutes with zero impact on network performance.
Stay tuned for more Miller Time.
Hear that sound? That's the sound of someone looking for the perfect house. For most people, a house is the biggest investment they'll ever make, and they'll spend almost as much time as money to find it. But you don't have to. One click to homesandland.com, and the perfect house finds you. Homesandland.com has thousands of listings from the area's top realtors with full-color photos and detailed property descriptions. You can search by bedrooms, by price, and choose just the features you want. A few clicks, and you'll get listings and contact information for homes perfect for you. And Homes and Land magazine makes it even easier with full-color layouts and all the information you need to find your next home. For a free copy, call 1-800-277-7800 or visit homesandland.com. Homes and Land, connecting home buyers and sellers for over 30 years.
Talk to your realtor today about Homes and Land of the Eastern Panhandle or phone 304-579-8510.
And we welcome you back into Miller Time on this Monday evening, along with Matt Crawford. I'm Matt Miller. 2 special guests in studio. We will reintroduce them in a moment, but first, more business to take care of.
This segment of the show brought to you by the Washington Nationals and the Kids Max Scherzer Eye Patch Night. Now you can look like your favorite pitcher with a Max Scherzer eye patch presented by Harris Teeter. On Sunday evening, June 24th, the first 10,000 kids ages 12 and under get this cool reversible eye patch featuring a brown and blue eye. For more information, visit nationals.com. So the weirdness of the 2 different eyes you can now have.
That's cool.
Which we noticed the detail on the new bobblehead we got. They actually went and did the detail, making one eye brown, one eye blue, which is still just weird to me.
It is fascinating. When you watch an interview with him, you kind of do get mesmerized by those eyes.
You just go back and forth on each eye. It's hard to just pay attention to him where you're just going back and forth between both eyes.
Maybe that's what affects batters when he's on the hill.
Well, that and the fact that he screams at himself when he's on the mound, that's got to be a little intimidating.
Well, and the fact that he pitches so doggone well. Speaking of a very good pitcher on the high school level, we've got Hedgesville pitcher and center fielder Chase DeLauder, the West Virginia State Player of the Year, along with his head coach, Aaron Whitford, joining us here in studio for the first half hour of the program. Thank you guys both for coming in. Do you have a particular pitcher or player overall that you kind of like to watch and maybe even emulate?
Mike Trout or Clayton Kershaw.
All right, so one in the outfield and one on the mound, kind of? Two pretty good ones. Yeah. Aaron, did you have one in your growing up days, or do you still have a particular player? Or?
Kenny Lofton.
Kenny, there you go.
Kenny Lofton, when I was growing up, was an outfielder, and that's where I played, and leadoff hitter, number 7. That's what I did for Hedgesville, so that's who I looked up to then.
Man, he could cover some ground.
Yes, he could.
Let's get back to the pitching. I know, is that where you want to go again?
I was going to go partially.
All right.
So this one's for Chase. As your baseball career moves on, you eventually go to the college level. Where do you see yourself on the field? As a hitter, outfielder, or on the mound? Or where would you ideally like to play? I know sometimes coaches have the idea already set for you, but if you had the choice as you progress, would you like to just be an outfielder and hit, or would you want to be on the mound?
Whatever's going to give me the most playing time, I think. Or, I'd like to play every day more than sit out, I think, 5 days or 6 days. But I would like to do both, but I know that's probably, the chances are lower. But I'd probably prefer playing every day.
I can understand that, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. What is it that you like about center field in particular, but even being an outfielder as a whole, as opposed to maybe being somewhere on the infield? I'm sure a young man with your talent level has probably been looked at shortstop and some other key positions.
I'm left-handed, so that's kind of hard. I played infield actually growing up in Little League.
Right.
But then my coach, I was one of the faster ones on the team, so he moved me in the outfield, and I hated outfield when I was growing up. But then when I got in the high school level and I saw kids started hitting it out there, I could read fly balls pretty well, so I didn't mind playing in the outfield.
What do you like more? What brings a smile to your face more? Robbing someone of a hit by making a great defensive play, or coming up with a big base hit yourself?
I think coming up with a big base hit, because the momentum is kind of more towards us, I think, when we come up with a big base hit or something. I think that's what we kind of struggled with most. If with runners on base, we couldn't really get big base hits, so when we got one, it was kind of big.
All right, so I believe I read this in the Journal article that came out when you were named the State Baseball Player of the Year. Is it true that you did not know any of your stats throughout the season?
I did it first until Myrtle Beach, and then I stopped looking at them because I started going in a little bit of slump, and I started worrying about them, so I got rid of them and then started to
I just want to clarify, a slump for him was 0 for 3 one game, and he had already hit 9 for 18 that week.
That's got to be nice as a coach to know that he has the maturity to go, all right, I'm going to not worry about the stats and just go out and play.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I know after the Musselman game where we lost to them, dropped it late, they all stopped looking at stats and just started focusing from there, preparing for sectional play. So I do believe it, and Game Changer wasn't on his phone anymore. He made sure he showed me.
We've got only about a minute or so left. This is just the junior year, so you've got one more year left. How does this set the tone, I guess, if you will, for going into your senior year?
I feel like I can just play so much relaxed. I can just enjoy baseball how I used to, as Little League. I feel like I can just have more fun with it.
So no pressure to try to repeat, but simply just go back out and do your thing.
Yeah, because once I start not worrying about what I'm going to end up, I play a lot better.
There you go. And that's the way you got to approach it, right? It's all about just making the play. Baseball's a game of failure, right? And you got to learn how to handle that failure, and you did it. 0 for 3, and you threw away the stat book and said, I'm just going to go out and end up hitting 500. Outstanding season. Congratulations again on the State Player of the Year honor. Coach Whitford, congratulations on another strong season, 21-10, and we'll look forward to seeing you both next year.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
We will take a quick timeout. Coming up next, yesterday's dates in sports history as Miller Time continues.
CBS News Update. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, who denied the administration has a policy on separating parents and children at the border, is appearing at the White House briefing.
This administration did not create a policy of separating families at the border. We have a statutory responsibility that we take seriously to protect alien children from human smuggling, trafficking, and other criminal actions while enforcing our immigration laws.
A Quinnipiac poll found 2 out of 3 Americans don't like how these families are being treated. Spokesman Tim Malloy.
It falls into place with all the other issues that surround this. Americans are far more pro-immigrant than it appears the administration is right now.
President Trump made no apologies for a zero-tolerance policy today.
You take a look at the death and destruction that's been caused by people coming into this country without going through a process.
CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Now, with your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
Eastern Panhandle temperatures dropping back into the upper 70s through the late evening, midnight time frame. We get to a low in the morning, only to about 74 degrees with partly cloudy skies. And then another warm day for Tuesday, although the clouds will be increasing. Showers and thunderstorms become more likely in the afternoon, and we'll see a high near 87. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio WRNR.
L.A. Roberts is Berkeley County's oldest jeweler, where every season is new and exciting. In fact, new is old school to us, and though it's nothing new, our old traditions like exceptional service, quality, and value maintain L.A. Roberts Jewelers as the old master among so many new kids on the block. Whether you're a newcomer or part of the old guard, entrust all your fine jewelry needs to L.A. Roberts, Old World Jewelers for a new age, in historic downtown Martinsburg. Saturday, July 7th, Valley Guns 2 is having their 5th annual Boardwalk Sale. It's 108 feet of sale and clearance items at unbelievable prices. Huge savings on Smith & Wesson, Springfield, Browning, Ruger, and FN firearms, ammunition, and Hawk Optics, plus huge savings on bows, crossbows, arrows, targets, and lots more. Don't miss out. It's the 5th annual Boardwalk Sale at Valley Guns 2, Exit 5 off I-81, Inwood, West Virginia. Call 304-229-4411, valleyguns2.com.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
All right, so a big day in the World Cup. Sweden over Korea 1-0. Belgium, no problems with Panama 3-0. And England over Tunisia 2-1. A goal in extra time. Odell Beckham Jr. has told the New York Giants he will be at training camp next month, even though he wants a new contract. Some good news out of Minnesota. I thought this was kind of cool. They announced that they're going to be honoring Dennis Green, the late, great Dennis Green, to their Hall of Fame after his 10-year career, 101 wins, 70 losses, 8 playoff trips. Only Bud Grant has more wins in their franchise history. He will become the 24th member of the Vikings Ring of Honor. 11 total baseball games tonight, including Dodgers and the Cubs at 8:05 Eastern. Chris Bryant going to bat leadoff for the 3rd time this month. I'm Keith Irizarry, and this is NBC Sports Radio.
Pros in the know start with Lowe's, because whether updating appliances in existing properties or building new construction, save with up to 35% off select appliance special values. Or save $228 on a 4-piece suite of GE kitchen appliances chosen just for pros. Now for $1,378. So, Pro, now that you know, let's get started. Offers valid through 6/19 on select items only. More exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action in communities all around the world. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved at Rotary.org.
Since 1877, Farmers and Mechanics insurance companies have proudly supported our local community. Farmers and Mechanics has the insurance products to meet your needs, including home, auto, farm, dwelling fire, business owners, and umbrella coverage. Please contact your local independent agency for a review of your insurance needs and ask for a policy from the company that knows you best. Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies, just off Edwin Miller Boulevard on Administrative Drive in Martinsburg. FMIWV.com.
And we welcome you back into Miller Time on this Monday evening. Matt Miller with you, along with Matt Crawford. Thanks again to Aaron Whitford and Chase DeLauder joining us in the first half of today's program. What a great season that they had in Hedgesville.
Phenomenal season.
I know it ended in a disappointing fashion. One of those parts of baseball. They were arguably one of the hottest teams in the area, if not the entire state, going into that sectional tournament. And that time where, unfortunately, you just can't quite get the hit or make the play that you need to make, and that's the game of baseball.
And we talked about it with them, that baseball is a game of failure, and they had been on a pretty high note the entire season. Unfortunately, that segment of baseball that is failing hit the entire team all at the same time in that sectional round.
All right, before we move on, let's take care of business, as this portion of the program is a service of
our favorite funeral home, Brown Funeral Homes and Cremations, Robert Field and Sons, a family-owned full-service funeral home that has proudly served our area since the year Matt Miller was born, 1880.
A few years after that. Just a few. It is the bottom of the hour, and time for us to get in our favorite segments, not today, but yesterday's date in sports history. We hit our music as we go back to June, not 18th, that's today, June 17th of, well, what year do we start? Let's start with, where are we going? How about 1943? Player-manager Joe Cronin of the Red Sox hits 2 3-run pinch home runs.
How do you hit 2 pinch home runs in the same game?
That I'm not sure, unless there was a rule change of some sort in baseball way back in the day.
Is there like a designated, was it like a courtesy hitter? Whenever there was a pinch hitter, you had to use the same one?
Hey,
I want to look that up.
When's the last time you heard of a player manager in the major leagues?
Not recently.
Yeah, not recently.
Although there were thoughts that Jeter could have done it.
Maybe.
Would have been interesting.
Maybe. How about yesterday's date, 1960? Ted Williams hit his 500th home run. That's not bad. 1962, the 62nd U.S. Golf Open. Jack Nicklaus shoots a .283 at Oakmont as he is the U.S. Open champion.
Golden Bear.
He was pretty good.
He was pretty good back in his day.
Yeah, not bad at all. All right, how about, let's see, 19, let's go to 92. Philadelphia 76ers trade Sir Charles Barkley to the Phoenix Suns.
And then you got to go to the best one of yesterday.
Oh, not yet. Let me go to 1994 first with the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, that is
underway.
the best one. That's one of the...
Oh, I thought the best one was also in 1994.
It is. I just meant the whole day in 1994, all the stuff that went on.
All right, so the day starts with the FIFA World Cup getting underway. Germany over Bolivia 1-0. By the way, that was played in Chicago, as it was in the U.S. that year. And on the same day, O.J. Simpson does not turn himself in on murder charges, but rather is in a slow-speed chase as L.A. cops chase his Ford Bronco for 1.5 hours before eventually he gives up on live TV.
AC was the driver's name.
AC, that's right.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out before the show started what it was, something C, and it was initials, and it was AC. Yep. So that's what it was. And on that same day, Arnold Palmer played his last round of PGA golf. And it was Game 5 of the NBA Finals between the New York Knicks and the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets would go on to win that series in 7.
So some pretty special things on yesterday's date in sports history.
But everything was surrounded by the OJ chase.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was telling the interns before the show, I don't think you were in here. If you haven't seen the 30 for 30 on that day, it's really good, and I would recommend giving it a watch. It's called June 17th, 1994.
I have to admit, I have not seen that particular 30 for 30, but I do remember watching the event live as it was going on, going, what's happening here, And the people lining up on the streets basically waving OJ like he's running for the end zone,
Like he's hurdling suitcases going through the airport. And
Yeah, that was in the much nicer days, I guess you might say, for O.J. Simpson. Well, yesterday's date will become another big date in history in the U.S. Open as Brooks Koepka wins for a second straight year. A lot of controversy this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not so much yesterday. And I really don't know. I got to be honest, being on vacation and working around the house and things last week, I didn't pay much attention to the first two rounds either. But Saturday seemed to really get on everybody's nerves at the U.S. Open, the way that course was playing.
Yeah, I think it was the first 2 days. I mean, you looked at some of the biggest names in golf, and you looked at Rory, you looked at Jordan Spieth, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson. They were all at least 6 over. And you're looking at it, and Dustin Johnson at one point was 4 under, but he was the only person under par at the U.S. Open. And I mean, the U.S. Open is usually a difficult golf course. It usually brings out the best in golfers or the worst in golfers, and this year was no different. But a good job by Brooks Koepka to win back-to-back U.S. Opens and joins a very prestigious list.
I was thinking to myself, though, as we were watching the final round yesterday together with family, my brother is the golfer in our family. He got that gene. I certainly did not. And my comment to him was, I think it's kind of neat to watch these guys who are so good at their craft actually feel like hack golfers. Reading comments going to bed Saturday night that players were making about the course. And then, of course, Phil Mickelson tracking down a moving ball and tapping it to prevent it from going off the side of the green and, I guess, potentially into a hazard. Everybody was just up in arms. And I'm thinking to myself, that's 9 out of 10 golfers every day.
My dad and I were watching the round yesterday, and he goes, it's amazing. These guys are shooting I would be shooting 130 on this course the way these guys are playing. It was true. I mean, it was a tough golf course to play. With Koepka winning at 1 over par.
Right.
I mean, when's the last time you saw a major where the winner was over par? It doesn't happen all that often.
No, not at all.
And again, these guys are supposed to be the best in the world.
Amazing.
And they are the best in the world.
They are.
It was just that challenging.
Hey, you said going in, I heard you talking to Rob last week when he asked you about the U.S. Open.
Oh, you're going to bring it up, aren't you?
I'm just going to say, you were looking for Tiger to have a good tournament.
He did not. He did. He struggled worse than even the good guys struggled, because everybody struggled. But yeah, it wasn't Tiger's finest performance.
So he's not back.
A lot of people weren't back for the U.S. Open. I'm just saying. I'm telling you, he is a new Tiger than what we've seen the last 4 years. But the U.S. Open, I don't think, proved that to anybody.
See, this is exactly why you were a good fit in sports talk radio, because you are just like all of those who followed the Cleveland Cavaliers through the NBA season. Whoa. You got to hear me out. You got to hear me out. And then you can fuss back at me. But I'm thinking all of that time, early on in the year, Cleveland's a team to watch. Cleveland's going to be a team wait a minute, Cleveland's tanking. They're not doing so good. And then they make the trades. And wait a minute, they win a few games. Cleveland may be the team to beat in the East again. And just a few weeks ago, Tiger has a pretty good round and a pretty good tournament. And you're telling me Tiger's back. I'm expecting he's going to win a major by the end of the year. And then he gets to this one. And, all right, Tiger's maybe not back quite as much. So you're riding that Tiger roller coaster.
I did not say he's not. I said he did not have a good tournament. I still will 100% say that he is on his way back. And he is playing at a level that can win him a PGA event before the calendar year is done.
All right, I'll give you that. On his way back. Yes, but that's a long... I think the biggest thing to me...
Look at some of the shots that we've seen in the city. That is vintage Tiger Woods, some of the stuff we've seen the last couple months. The putting, maybe not, but everything else has evolved into the way that the Tiger of the mid to late 2000s, used to be and was winning every other weekend.
And I think that's the hardest part, though, to take, is the fact that when he was at his best, he was so good, head and shoulders above those who were around him, that he'll never get back to where he was.
Well, not at age either. I think at the age he is, there was no way, break or not, that he was going to be able to keep up that pace consistently. And then you take the the break with his wife beating him with a putter or whatever club it was, and then the back injuries and the tearing his ACL and still winning a U.S. Open. But I think at this age, he wasn't going to ever make that grand comeback anyway. But I do think he still has the skills and the mindset that he can win PGA events and maybe another major or two before he hangs it up for good.
Maybe another major.
Yeah.
And to me, that's where he's going to be measured. Even it'll be big, obviously, when he wins his next PGA Tour event. That'll be big, obviously. That'll be okay. Is Tiger back? Will be that question again. But I don't think any win is going to be a quote unquote big enough win until he gets another major, because that's the caliber of golfer that he's always been.
I think if he wins a PGA Tour event at a certain course, it doesn't have to be one of the big majors, but I think if he wins at a certain course, I'm not going to give you because I don't know where each tournament's being played for the rest of the year, but I think depending on the course, he could possibly be seen as, while it's not a major, he played a very good tournament and won on a very competitive golf course against very good competition. So I think if he doesn't win a major, that could still put him in the category as, okay, he played this golf course very well and not a lot of other people had.
Well, let's hear from the winner himself, Brooks Koepka, who I thought played a very solid round yesterday. As we were watching how everything was unfolding, there were a couple of times it looked like he could be in a whole heap of trouble.
Even going to the 18th. And his second shot goes into the deep rough and then makes a phenomenal, and ricochets off luckily ricocheted off of the stands, giving him an easier third shot, but still, he still bogeyed 18.
Right, but only lost that one.
Yeah, so that could have been the rest of the tournament. Everybody was losing 4 or 5 strokes on something like that.
Absolutely. So let's hear from the winner after his second consecutive U.S. Open championship.
I don't want to say I didn't think I could do it, but I knew that it was going to be that much more difficult, and to finally to do it, it's much more gratifying the second time. I can really appreciate how hard it is to win a major, and to win back-to-back is special, and my second major is cool. Hopefully there will be a few more.
Well, possibly a few more. He's still a young golfer, and certainly showed that he can get it done. He also addressed a question about the rough playing conditions throughout the tournaments.
Everybody's got to play the same golf course. Yesterday probably should have been like it was today, in hindsight, but it is what it is. You got to keep going, keep plugging away, and don't get caught up in all the talk, and just keep focused on what you're doing. You can't get away from it and start being negative. I feel like it gets some negative thoughts going. If you start complaining, you're looking for excuses. I'm not really one to make excuses.
See, and that's what I wanted to hear from him.
All right.
Because the whole talk about, this course is too hard for them to be playing, they're professional athletes at this specific sport. In the NFL, obviously, you're not going to play your best when it's 12 degrees and snowing sideways at Lambeau Field, but you're still a professional and have to figure out how to win in that certain environment or in that certain place. They're still PGA golfers and the best in the world at what they do. They should have adapted, and obviously not a lot of people in retrospect adapted. I mean, again, the winner was at 1 over par, but the whole concept of, this course was too hard for them, the PGA's got to do something. No. Throw a little wrench in their usual plans, and don't have the winner shoot an 18 under par every single major. I didn't have an issue with it.
No, I don't either.
I think it was actually kind of nice to watch the best golfers in the world shoot like you and I do when we go out to a golf course.
Right. But at the same time, there were elements of the course that clearly could have been a little bit better as far as some of the greens play and so forth. I mean, okay, who finished second? Tommy Fleetwood. All right. And tied an open record with a final round 63, and what was that? A 6 to 8 foot putt on 18 to have had a 62 and set the new U.S. Open record for a low score in a round. And his putt was dead on, and you can clearly see the putt take a skip to the right and end up missing. And you're like, that was totally the condition of that green. If that green is in better condition, he rolls that in and has a 62.
All right, I'll give you that one.
So
I'll give you that.
That's one where
there were certain elements, but there was also it was just a tough golf course.
Yes.
So I think it was a mixture of both.
Tough for Phil Mickelson. Wow, chasing down.
That was funny.
A bad putt on a very bad number 13 on Saturday. He took the 2-shot penalty to end up with a 10 on the hole. 10. I've done that on a couple of miniature golf, courses there.
I think when you're playing on a regular course, you're supposed to pick up by 8.
Is that what it is?
All right, just give me an 8 for that one.
And maybe that was his philosophy in going after that and striking a still rolling ball, which gave him a 2-shot penalty. But I just found it fascinating because still doing some work on Saturday, did get a little rest in there, went and saw a movie with the family and so forth. And so by the time I really checked my phone and was seeing how the day in sports had played out, I'm reading all these articles about Mickelson should have been disqualified. He needs to just withdraw from the tournament and apologize. I can't believe what he did. And I'm going, oh my goodness. And I'm wanting to read articles.
You're thinking he mooned the camera or something in the middle of the 16th green?
Well, I'm seeing everything and going, all right, I get it. I mean, it's a gentleman's game, and you're not supposed to do that. But he took the 2-stroke penalty.
He was going to get the 2-stroke penalty anyway when it went in the water. That ball was rolling downhill towards the water. It was going to end up being a 2-stroke penalty anyway. And the way he was playing, I think he was just looking to have any sort of fun he could.
Well, I don't know how much fun he was trying to have. He says afterwards, though, he certainly meant no disrespect.
There's no disrespect meant, but sometimes it's just best to take 2 shots and move on. And if somebody's offended by that, I apologize to them, but toughen up, because this is not meant that way. It's just simply I just wanted to get on to the next hole, and I didn't see that happening at the time. I'm gladly take my 2 strokes and move on.
And who would be offended? If you're that offended by that, you need to reprioritize your life and figure out what's important, because Phil Mickelson hitting a moving ball should not be on the top of your list on things that annoy you. That's just my opinion.
Everybody wakes up in this day and age waiting to be annoyed during the day. You got to
come in and work with you.
Thank you. See, and that's exactly why I'm here, so that I can bring annoying pleasure to your day.
You're the buffer.
Is that what it is?
That way I don't have to be annoyed at anybody else.
That's the way to look at it. Well, don't get annoyed, but we do have to take a break. And then we'll come back and talk a little Major League Baseball. By the way, our Washington Nationals weren't supposed to play today, but they are.
They didn't get the memo.
Yeah, they're in action right now. In fact, in the bottom of the 8th inning down at Nationals Park. We'll be joining that game in progress in a moment. We'll explain next on Miller Time.
I live my life like this.
It's the Jeep Celebration event at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Martinsburg. Stop in now for great deals on a great line of Jeep products. Get $1,000 cash back on a 2019 Jeep Cherokee with financing at 0% for 60 months. How about a new 2019 Cherokee Latitude 4x4, only $219 a month, or a 2018 Jeep Wrangler JK for only $296 a month. Get bonus cash up to $6,000 off a 2018 Renegade, plus $500 trade. Stop by and test drive a Chrysler Pacifica and get free movie passes. It's all at the Jeep Celebration event at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty on Kelly Island Road, or online at millerschryslerjeep.com. All payments based on approved credit, taxes, tax, and processing fees extra. See dealer for details.
It's that time of year for loud bangs. No, not just thunderstorms, but fireworks. The city of Martinsburg reminds you that even though West Virginia State Code permits the sale of fireworks, discharging them within city limits is prohibited. And this Martinsburg City Ordinance is in force all year long. Set off fireworks within the city of Martinsburg and you're risking a fine of $500, 30 days in jail, or both. Don't risk it. The discharge of fireworks within city limits is against the law. If you see or hear fireworks being discharged, call the Martinsburg Police Department at 304-264-2100. That's 304-264-2100.
Remember, it's against the law to set off fireworks in the city of Martinsburg today and every day. This message paid for by the city of Martinsburg.
Hello, this is Delegate Mike Folk, candidate for West Virginia Senate District 16. I want to extend my personal congratulations to all the Little League All-Stars this summer. As a former three-sport athlete and Shepherd football player, I understand the importance of discipline, hard work, and perseverance, something our All-Stars have in common. As you continue your journey through this summer and your life, remember this quote from Hall of Famer Jerry Rice, who said, "Today I will do what others won't, so tomorrow I can accomplish what others can't." Best of luck and have a great tournament.
We welcome you back into Miller Time. About, 3.5 minutes left in the program. Time flies when you're having fun. We mentioned a moment ago, going into the break, we'll be joining Washington Nationals baseball in progress. The Nationals and the Yankees both scheduled to be off today. However, about 3 weeks ago, the two teams met at Nationals Park, and Game 1 ended up being suspended in the 6th inning, tied at 3. And then Game 2 the next day got completely rained out. So tonight they are finishing the suspended game. And then after about a half an hour or so break, they will play a full 9-inning game to help make up the other game out of that 2-game set.
And fun fact, Juan Soto playing in this game, this will now go down as his MLB debut. Because this game originally was scheduled, I think it was May 15th. I think I heard on the radio this morning, May 15th, which was a week before he made his MLB debut. So because this game started on the 15th, this will officially be his major league debut.
Pretty good debut because the Nationals now have a 5-3 lead while batting in the bottom of the 8th inning, thanks to Juan Soto hitting a 2-run home run.
Which he hit a home run in his actual debut, too. So both of his debut, he just needs to keep getting pushed down and then brought back up because he's going to hit a home run every time.
Well, the Nationals clearly need a win because they did not have a very good weekend north of the border. They were in Toronto to face the Blue Jays, and yesterday suffered an 8-6 defeat. They trailed early, tied the game at 5 in the 6th inning, trailed again, but tied it at 6 in the 8th inning. But then in the bottom of the 8th inning, back-to-back home runs put the Jays in front, and they go on for an 8-6 victory, sweeping the 3-game weekend series from the Nationals. Following the loss yesterday, Nats manager Dave Martinez.
You never want to get swept, but, I'm glad we swung the bats today. We haven't been swinging very well, and Murph had good at-bats, Rendon had good at-bats. I'll take our chances every time we score 6 runs. I really will. So, I'm proud of them. They didn't give up. They fought the whole game. Tanner wasn't Tanner today, obviously. So we fought back, and let's see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, Tanner Roark did not have a good game as the Nationals fell to 37-31. Right now, about 3 back of Atlanta in the NL East. The Nationals trying to gain some ground as they are playing the Yankees right now. Again, bottom of the 8th inning, 5-3 is the Nationals lead, and we'll be joining the game in progress coming up.
At least Bryce Harper played well. Oh, wait, no, he didn't. He dropped his batting average to .217.
What was that, 0 for 5
yesterday? 0 for 5 yesterday.
Yeah, I saw him come up with the 0 for 4. And
you thought that batting .228 was bad? Yeah, he went through the weekend, is now batting .217.
All right, we ended on a good note, though, for the Baltimore Orioles, who scored a 10-4 win against the Marlins. The last time the Orioles won at home was what day?
Mother's Day. So, again, they need to play on holidays. They won at home on Mother's Day, then didn't win again at home till Father's Day.
Way to go, moms and dads. Way to support your kids out there, playing hard, trying to get wins. It hasn't been pretty because the Orioles are now just 20-50. 20-50. On pace
unbelievably bad
for 100 losses.
One of the 5 teams on pace for 100 losses.
Hey, the O's are off today, but guess what? They're in Washington to face the Nationals coming up tomorrow, and we'll have the broadcast for you right here. Well, that's going to wrap up today's Miller Time. Let's join Nationals baseball in progress right now as they head to the top of the 9th.
Fitters669.org.
You're listening to the Washington Nationals Radio Network.
Cancer is the most formidable of foes, made of renegade genes that mutate to stay alive. But what if there were an entire community of leading cancer specialists a cancer dream team that can use a patient's own DNA to treat their cancer. At Novashar Cancer.
Was what day?
Mother's Day.
And it hasn't been pretty because the Orioles are now just 20-50. On pace
Unbelievably bad.
for 100 off today, but guess what? They're in Washington to face the Nationals right here. Well, that's going to wrap up the top of the ninth.